Death and taxes. In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. These are the profound words of Benjamin Franklin. However, it is worth remembering that death and taxes differ in two very significant ways. First, death isn't an annual event. And second, governments can't make death any worse than it is. I wish I could say the same about taxes. We can all agree that death is certain. But what about taxes? There are some people who do not meekly roll over before the tax authorities. These are the golden geese, high net worth individuals that are the subject of Flight of the Golden Geese, the book I wrote with my good friend David L'Esperance, a well-known Canadian tax lawyer. Now, these golden geese reject any claim that taxes have a moral justification and instead see merit in the stand of Henry David Thoreau. Now, on July 23rd, 1846, Thoreau was thrown in jail for refusing to pay his taxes. He was demonstrating his opposition to slavery and also as a stand against the poll tax that was funding a war with Mexico. Thoreau was released the next day when a friend paid his back taxes, so not much of a rebellion. However, according to an apocryphal story, Ralph Waldo Emerson went to visit him in his cell, unable to understand Thoreau's stubbornness. Emerson was quite taken aback when Thoreau asked him why he too was not in jail. Thoreau saw himself as a political prisoner, jailed for objecting to an intrusive and an immoral government. He thought that all men of conscience would agree with him in that I heartily accept the motto that government is best which governs least. And I should like to see it acted out more rapidly and systematically carried out. It finally amounts to this, which I also believe. That government is best which governs not at all. What a vain hope. If anything, with new technology, governments are becoming even more invasive. The present trend is for their efforts to be increasingly focused not only on tax evaders, but also on those who merely avoid paying. Now, tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is not only legal, but also sensible on the part of the taxpayer. According to Thoreau, taxation itself is immoral when there is no hypothecation. That is, when taxpayers have no say over how, specifically, their taxes are spent. Furthermore, we are not obliged to overpay along the lines of Judge Learned Hand's famous opinion. Over and over again, courts have said there is nothing sinister in so arranging one's affairs as to keep taxes as low as possible. Everybody does so, rich or poor, and all do right, for nobody owes any public duty to pay more than the law demands. Taxes are enforced exactions, not voluntary contributions. To demand more in the name of morals is mere cant. Of course, governments see tax avoidance as simply exploiting loopholes that they haven't managed to fill yet. However, they fail to spot the irony when they try to introduce general anti-avoidance rules, which imply that the spirit of tax law, particularly in respect of corporations and the super rich, is that they should not seek to claim rebates. What would happen if governments pulled the same stunt on everyone and demanded an end to, say, spousal or dependent deductions, or deductions on mortgages, retirement funds, depreciation, allowable business expenses, and other legal deductions on general personal and business taxes? And by the same token, These two are tax avoidance schemes. We can also ask why losses on investments due to inflation aren't legitimate tax deductions. In their panic to collect votes, politicians will succumb to the intense pressure applied by representatives of the mob, such as the trade union movement. Just read any of the brothers' propaganda trumpeting the politics of envy and a seething fury against tax avoidance, and you'll see it's unmistakable. In the UK, they rant on about the Monaco boys and want to introduce a new law called a general anti-avoidance principle that treats all tax avoidance as unacceptable and therefore open to challenge. Furthermore, any such rule must also include significant anti-avoidance rules so that those leaving the UK to live in a location with low or no taxes and no history of tax cooperation with the UK should face considerably higher obstacles before being considered non-resident. Now, this logic is just one step from the body taxes imposed by the then Soviet Union on Russian Jews emigrating to Israel. There, the pathetic excuse was that the state was merely attempting to recover some of the investment made in educating the emigres. Of course, the sums demanded were far greater than the identified cost. Indeed, most golden geese would be only too happy to pay sums calculated along the principle of recouping sunk costs, if this meant they were free to leave. Be sure body taxes will eventually be introduced by Western governments at the behest of left-leaning politicians and trade unions who will attempt to stop the drain of brains and capital resulting from the flight of the golden geese. As in Russia, the sums demanded are likely to be a large proportion of each goose's total capital assets and hence will verge on extortion. They will want to clip the wings of each golden goose before it can fly away to more attractive climes. In other words, they want to turn each goose into a sitting duck. In the USA, the leftist rhetoric emanating from the Democratic Party and from Marxist professors in universities spreads the lie of hierarchies and victim culture to brainwash many of their followers into becoming self-righteous and sanctimonious social justice warriors, virtuous with indignation, attacking everyone who thinks differently. The result is the mob rule of the cancel culture. Destroy everyone who does not accept the one true way, namely our way. In our book, Flight of the Golden Geese, what we do is simply relay the warnings made by high net worth individuals to talent workers and those who are comfortably off in Western societies. They say, recognize the signals. Be aware of government propaganda for what it is. See through these lies my country told me. Detect the duplicity in the rhetoric of left-leaning politicians who place the will of the mob above the rule of law. Free yourselves from any sense of guilt and want no part of the common good. To protect their wealth for the long-term benefit of themselves and their families, these high net worth individuals who remain must do something about it. Act now before it is too late.